Let your higher self lead. So I want to talk about the mind, as I often do, because I'm really aware that I always try to come at things from my head, trying to make sense of things, trying to be rational about things. And I think that's really common for most people who try to work things through with what is a very limited programmable mind. The mind can only deal with what it knows. And when you're facing a decision where you really don't know what to do because you've never been in that situation before, you're really stumped because the mind is restricted. It doesn't have the data to draw on. And that's why often you kind of get stuck or you go round and round in circles with something. So I wanted to talk today about where the mind really should be and what you can do instead to help you make these decisions, or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be big decisions, it could be little things or choices. And what I really wanted to speak about was your higher self, and really to explain a little bit about what the higher self is, why it should be leading you, and how that gives you the edge, but also how to know when your higher self is actually speaking and how to tune into it. So the reason for this is the higher self is something, we hear, it sounds really woo, but actually it should be the driver of your life. So think of the higher self as the part of you that's the real you. Like, it's the wise you, it's got all the wisdom. It's you when you're not being anxious or worrying about what other people think, letting your ego get into control. It's you when you're not stressed. And it's the part of you that just knows. It's the real you that knows deep down inside what's right, what feels true to you, what really matters. It's not about other people, because often the higher self gets drowned out by what other people want or what you think they want, what you should do, because that's what people would expect you to do. It's actually that. So the higher self is this part of you that's real, and it's the wise you, it's the real wise you. And when you let your higher self run the show, you start making much clearer decisions. You stop kind of agonizing and overthinking about stuff and trying to second guess. And that means that you really trust yourself more. When you trust yourself, you become quite magnetic, actually, because that belief really emanates from within to outside of you, and you stop responding, and you in a kind of stressed out, kind of patterny way. In a reactional way, you just start responding in a sensible, gentle, kind, something that feels comfortable way. And instead of kind of running after things as well, you sort of decide to let things come to you. You stop chasing things and you decide what you want. So you're kind of moving from a place of, demanding to commanding, if that makes sense. And so it's almost like you have this massive upgrade when you start coming from your higher self. You stop this kind of playing small, being the small version of you, and you live in a more like aligned, authentic. Sorry, I can't get my words out today. What's going on with me? But you're in a more authentic version of you. People notice that. People feel it. That energy of that really will radiate from you. So if you really want to know whether it's your mind talking to you or your higher self, there are some very clear differences that you can look out for. The higher self, your higher self, feels really like calm, and it's quite a neutral position, a very sort of matter of fact. It doesn't feel hectic or like in a rush. It doesn't feel frightened. It's just like a really quiet voice. And it's very sort of steady. So, you know, when they say it's very subtle, that's what it is. It's a very subtle, calm, knowing, wise voice. And it won't be loud and panicky at all. It might just show up in your body as kind of like a gut feeling deep inside. It's just like an instinct, like this deep inner knowing. You just know it in your bones. Or you might just have like a real sense of, you come to a decision, you feel really peaceful about it. Therefore, you're not overthinking it anymore. It just is. That is how it's going to be. And you feel good. You feel okay with it. Even if it's a negative thing, decision you've got to make, it feels okay, peaceful. So the other side of things is if it feels like it's really pushy, it's anxious, or it's heavy, that's your ego coming in. And so you can just notice that, no, it feels light, it feels grounded, it feels calm and steady. That's my higher self. And that's how you know you're making a decision from that wise part of you. So how you can actually tune in, there's a few things you can do really. Here's a few ideas. You could just slow down, like every day. I'm always amazed in my treatment room that people don't make any time for themselves. I mean, 5-10 minutes. I'm not nagging or lecturing here. But 5-10 minutes in the grand scheme of things in the day is not a lot to ask, is it? Just to sit down, quieten yourself down, breathe and listen and go inside just for a moment. And you can ask a question of yourself, like, what do I want? What do I need here in this situation? What works for me? And you can notice if your body feels really light, you'll know, okay, this is a yes, I feel open to this. If it's tight and draining and feels really hard, then it's a no. So you just got to trust what comes through. Don't sort of overthink it, overanalyze it. Just let it come to you and let yourself receive it. It might take a little while to get used to this, because if you never actually sit with yourself, which a lot of people don't, seem to be quite frightened to do it, it just takes a little while. So give yourself space and time and be consistent. And you can always journal. You could just ask on the paper, what do I need to know, higher self? And just write whatever comes out freely. And over time, the higher self just gets louder and louder and clearer. And it's almost like you're then just automatically using your higher self and coming at it from that wise perspective. And one really useful way to think about this whole higher self is, where it should be if you were driving a car, for example. If you were in a car, your higher self should 100% be at the steering wheel, driving the car, giving the orders. Your body should be sat next to it on the passenger seat, and the higher self would be checking in and going, how you feeling? Does this feel okay in your body? Does this feel right for you? And just really looking after your body and all the sensations that you get, all those messages you get through the body in ways of feeling. And the mind, that one that's always tried to make decisions in the past, should be sat in the back. You can give it the sat nav, and the higher self can tell the mind, right, we're going here. Program this in, please, mind. And the mind is excellent at then executing the plan. Oh, it says go left. Oh, it says go right. Oh, you need to turn left here at the roundabout. So it's like, it's that. It's the mind needs to be in the back seat, and the higher self is telling the mind, this is where we're going. You need to now just follow the sat nav rules and say which directions we're going in. But it shouldn't be making the decisions, because when it does, it's very limited. It just can't. It just doesn't have the information. You've got to go with that kind of body-based wisdom. So when you start living in this way, everything will start to shift. Everything will start to feel easier. And as I said, over time, it will get clearer and clearer to you, because you're talking to that higher self all the time. You're meant to be here in a kind of free, clear, guided way, but we so often get restricted by what we think other people would expect of us. So start tuning into it. This is the inner work, really. This is part of it. It's all about getting comfortable with making those decisions from that deeper part of you that already knows and has the wisdom available.